Foreign policy was a big focus here, including dealing with ISIS, and a lot of people came here and said, my plan to defeat ISIS is to crush them. Not a lot of specificity. You offered something specific, which is the introduction, advocating the introduction of 10,000 American troops. Tell us, as you did during the break, where that comes from and what you think their mission would be.
Yeah, I laid out things. Number one, we have to arm the Kurds. And I was up on the Hill just a couple of weeks ago with Lindsey Graham and John Barrasso, Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii, and talking about how we can put an effort forward in the Congress to make that happen. Secondly, we have to increase our aid to the Jordanians. They're serious about it. They're serious about fighting, and they've got 1.2 at least million refugees in their country, and that's a very destabilizing thing. And King Abdullah has been a good ally, and we need to make sure he has plenty of support to take on that. And then I said the third thing we have to do is we have to be present. We have to get boots on the ground, and it doesn't have to be an invasion force. I wouldn't be for an invasion force. What we need to do is use the Kurds who are willing to fight, the Jordanians who are willing to fight, and a segment of the Iraqi army that would be the right part of the army to fight, and train them, equip them, and provide intel, make sure that airstrikes are effective. And then the second thing I think is we've been doing a PR campaign in the past year, almost year, with ISIS, by flying a handful of missions every day. This is not a serious effort to degrade ISIS. And we need a serious effort of airstrikes in combination with this other activity to degrade ISIS. And our first priority, the strategic objective, should be to get ISIS out of Iraq. Not that I'm not concerned about getting ISIS out of Syria. We need to defeat ISIS. But the first thing we need to do is we need to reclaim that land that so many Sunnis rose up, fought in the Anbar Awakening, sided with freedom, and now are being punished severely for that. Anybody that worked with us, as you know, is under death. Yep. And we can't allow that to occur. We cannot go in and ask people to join us, abandon them, and as they are being burned and crucified, allow them to have that happen.
Senator, it's clear that foreign policy is going to be a huge issue, but it's also clear that not a whole lot of people have extensive experience in this area. How do you, and you've given details more than most anybody, except for maybe Marco Rubio's around par, how do you separate yourself from that pack?
I talked about it in the speech. I served 8 years on the Armed Services Committee. After that, I really did a deep dive into radical Islam and what it was about. Authored a bill that passed called the Syrian Accountability Act, another bill that passed called the Iran Freedom and Support Act. When I left my farewell address was on the threat of radical Islam. I spent 4 years here in Washington, D.C., writing about it, traveling the country, and trying to sound the alarm that while people think, Osama bin Laden's dead, everything's fine. It's not. This is a long war. This is a war that if we do not crush or the best way to put it is, if you don't eliminate the tumor, if you leave a few cells remaining, you know what happens. It comes back with a vengeance, and that's what's happening. Every time we defeat, whether it's the Muslim Brotherhood or the Taliban or Al-Qaeda, every iteration afterwards is worse. And that's what you're seeing with ISIS. And I suspect that if we do not do a good job in removing them from Iraq in particular right away, this threat is going to grow and grow quickly.
So we just have a minute, and I want to ask you one other thing. Social issues have not been front and center here. Same-sex marriage, abortion, they're mentioned, but not nearly as big as in foreign policy, economics. CPAC usually tells you where at least some of the party is. Why is that? And again, I think
CPAC has gotten a reputation for being a little bit more on the libertarianist side. Rand Paul packs the place, and always and will, I'm sure, this time win the straw poll. So as a result, it's always had a younger, more libertarian bent to it, and I think that's why a lot of social conservative groups don't get involved. But there's room for that. That's the one thing I know that Republican always. The media always looks at the Republican Party. Republican Party is actually a pretty broad-based party,
right.
and this I think is a reflection of that.
All right, so I think we got to
real quick before we let you go. You've been staffing up. Big staffing announcements are coming. Yes.
Well, it's the interesting is, I've had an organization called Patriot Voices now that's been around for 3 years, and we've been staffed up.
Right.
We've have 20-some employees on our team right now, and so we don't have any staff announcements because we've been there for a while.